What's up, family? Man, I want to have a real heart-to-heart with you guys. Man, there's so much talk about growth and development. You know what I mean? There's so much talk about, man, moving beyond where you're at. And then the reality is, man, we got to grow up, But in order to grow up, in order to change, you have to first change your perspective. You have to change your perspective. You have to change the way you see life. You have to change the way you see your life. You have to change the way you see your circumstances. You have to change the way you see your trauma, the drama, and everything else. We have to grow up. And the only way to grow up is by first changing our perspective. That's what growth and development is all about. Changing your perspective. What am I talking about? Man, you guys know my story. I've gone through so much. And I took it as man, I was a victim. Man, the world was against me. Woe is me. God hates me. Blah, 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 blah. I took all of that. That was the perspective that I had when I went through all the crap that I went through. Women ain't shit. Blah, 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 blah. That was my perspective. Based on my hurt. Based on my fears. Based on my insecurities. Based on my issues. And then once God opened my eyes to the real, it's like, oh shit. I started to see things from God's perspective. And when I started to look at it from God's perspective, my perspective changed. When I looked at the world, when I looked at my life through my lenses, through my eyes, man, I was hurt, I was a victim, I was fearful, I was angry. Man, I had a whole bunch of shit going on. You know what I mean? I was toxic as fuck. But then when I started to connect with God and learn to look at my life through the lenses, through the eyes of God, everything changed. Why did it change? Because I looked at it from a different view. I looked at it from a different angle. I saw it for what it really was. As long as I looked at it from my lens, as long as I looked at it from my eyes, from my perspective, I was always the victim. I was always the innocent one. I was always the one getting fucked over, getting dogged out. But when I looked at the circumstances, the exact same circumstances, the exact same situation, I looked at it through the lens of God. I looked at it through the eyes of God. I saw the exact same situation, the exact same circumstances, the exact same events played out. But I saw it from a different perspective. I saw it from a different angle. What do I mean? I saw it for what it really was. It wasn't that the world was against me. It wasn't that the world was trying to crush me. It wasn't that the world hated me. It wasn't that God didn't give a fuck about me. It wasn't that my daddy hated me. It wasn't that those guys that sexually assaulted me, sexually molested me at 6 years old, it wasn't that they hated me. I saw everything from a different perspective. When I saw my dad murder my mom, through my eyes, I was right there, 2 years of age. Stabbed her 49 times. That fucked me up. That made me feel powerless, voiceless. That made me feel abandoned. That made me feel angry. That made me want to put on my cap and save a whole cape and come to the rescue of everybody that was being picked on, been hurt. But then when I saw that exact same event through the eyes of God, I saw me there as this little kid screaming, crying, covered in blood, but I saw it through a different lens. I saw it through a different perspective. And what that showed me was, Elijah, look how resilient you are. Elijah, look how strong you are. Elijah, when everybody, quote unquote, made you feel like you wasn't shit and you was stupid, you was dumb, you was going to hell, all this stupid shit they did. Elijah, you're still motherfucking here. Elijah, all that shit was to show you how strong you are. All that shit, it hurt you. It messed up your self-esteem, but it couldn't crush your spirit. Elijah, all that shit that you went through, if you look at it through your lens, you will always be a victim. If you look at it through your lens, you'll be filled with hate and anger and trauma for the rest of your life. But if you come over here and get connected with me, this is God talking, but if you come over here and get connected with me and see it through my eyes, now you're able to see the big picture. Now you're able to understand why you went through everything that you went through. Now you're able to understand that it wasn't them against you. It was them showing you you. It was them showing you your purpose. It was them showing you how powerful you really are. These grown people, although they hurt you as a little kid, they couldn't kill you. Although they hurt you as a little kid, look at the beauty, the lessons, the life-changing lessons. Look at the power that you possess. Look at the lives you're able to influence and touch in a positive, loving, nurturing way because you've gone through what you've gone through. You didn't just go through it, Elijah. You grew through it. So many people, they come into the world and the world is just opened up to them and it's made easy for them. Elijah, that wasn't the path you traveled. You traveled through the school of hard knocks. You traveled through the pain, through the process of pain and suffering and loss. Abandonment, rejection, fear. And because you traveled that road, you're not afraid to stand before the world and say what needs to be said. You're not intimidated by somebody's title or position or the amount of money they have, how big they are, because you face these demons, you face these monsters as kids. Because you've grown through the shit that you've grown through, you can now stand before the world and throw up your hands and say, I don't give a damn who likes me and who don't like me. I don't give a damn whether they believe me or not. I don't give a damn whether they want to fuck with me or rock with me or not. I'm going to do what I got to do. And it don't matter who's rolling with me or not. Because you've gone the path that you've gone. Because you've endured what you've endured. Because you've grown through what you've grown through. You can now speak life into others going through similar situations. You can now speak life into others who are now suicidal, depressed, frustrated, angry, bitter. Those with low self-esteem. Those full of self-hatred. now give them a hug. And just in your hug, they know they're loved. Just in their hug, in that hug, or in the words you say, the energy you send to them, they know that they matter. See, there's a lot of people that's going to try to copy what you do. And I'm saying this to the great majority of y'all. There's a lot of people that's going to try to copy what you do. They're going to try to talk like you. They're going to try to move like you. But they won't have your power. They won't have your influence. Why? Because they haven't gone through the hell you've gone through. They haven't put in the work you've put in. They see what you do now, and you make it look easy. But they don't see the years and the tears you cried and you studied. They don't see the loneliness that you've endured. They don't see the brokenness that you've endured. They don't see the rejection and the abandonment you've endured. They see you now. And they think, man, he does it. And if he can do it, and this works for him, I'm going to do it just like that. And they think that's where your power comes in, is your mannerisms. They think your power comes in because you rocking crystals. They think the power comes in because you talk about God. They think the power lies in the fact that, man, you talk about growth and development. They think the power lies in the fact that you read books. You can read all the fucking books you want to. If you don't grow the fuck up emotionally and get in alignment with God, source, the Most High, whatever you want to call it, all those books are going to be fucking useless to you. It'll give you book knowledge, but it won't give you the knowledge to change somebody's life. It won't give you the power to change somebody's life. See, the trip is, there are people that have gone to school for years, got their psychology degree, their psychiatry degree. They counsel people. And you don't have to have any of that stuff. You could just have the alignment with Source and have grown through your trauma and the drama and the pain that you've gone through in life, and have more knowledge, more power than these psychologists, than these psychiatrists. Why? Because you are now tapped into infinite knowledge, infinite wisdom, infinite understanding. But you got to do the work. You can't just sit here and pray and say kumbaya and not deal with your bullshit and grow through your bullshit and think they gonna just give you all that knowledge and wisdom and understanding. You can't sit your ass in fucking church and pick up your fucking Bible and read from Genesis to Revelation 15 times and think you're gonna be endowed with knowledge and wisdom and understanding. That's not how that works. You gotta do the fucking work. You got to grow through the pain, through the trauma, through the fear, through the anger, through the suicidal thoughts, through the loneliness, through the hopelessness, the homelessness. You got to put in the work. You have to put in the work. There's no getting around that. There's no fast tracking this. You got to put in the work. And by putting in the work, your mind changes. And when your mind changes, your world changes. When your mind changes, your circumstances change. That's how you change your future. That's how you change the lives of those around you for the better. You got to deal with your issues. You got to do the work. You got to get in alignment with God and Source. And you'll understand the bigger picture. See, it was never really just about you. Why you went through all the shit you went through. See, it wasn't just about me. Why my daddy rejected me and hated me. Why my daddy murdered my mama right in front of me when I was 2. Why I was sexually molested. Why my aunt was so physically and emotionally abusive. It wasn't just about me. But as long as I looked at my life through my lenses, it was all about me. And why did they treat me that way? Why did they do that to me? What was wrong with me? And why didn't they love me? Why didn't they appreciate me? Why didn't they value me? Why didn't they see God in me? Why didn't they see something positive in me? Why that? And it would go down that fucking rabbit hole. Because you're not in alignment with God. You don't see the big picture. And the big picture is there are thousands and millions of people going through what you went through, going through similar situations. And somebody has to lead them out of the darkness. Somebody has to lead them out of the chaos. Somebody has to help them heal. Somebody has to shine a light so that they can see the truth. So that they can see how toxic they really are. And the trip is that person shining a light, that person trying to lead others, oftentimes they live a lonely life. It is what it is. It is what it is. Grow up. And it's not that they live a lonely life, as in they're miserable and they're frustrated. Man, I ain't got nobody. And da-da-da-da-da. That's not what I'm talking about, a lonely life. The lonely life is, man, when I'm going through something, I don't really have a lot of people in my circle. When I'm going through something, man, there's not a lot of people around me that can encourage me. When Jesus was going through what Jesus went through, when Jesus was going through what he had to go through, there wasn't any religious folk around him that could inspire him. When Jesus was with his disciples in the garden the night that he got arrested, there was no religious people quoting scriptures to him. There were no religious people praying for him. There were no religious people praying with him. There were no religious or spiritual-minded people talking to him. He was alone. Even his inner circle went to sleep on him. You're going to have to walk this path. And it is what it is. Change your perspective. Change your mind. Change your life. Change the world. But you have to start by changing this. Change your perspective. Man, I hope and pray that I said something this morning to encourage you, to challenge your way of thinking, to let you know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Regardless of what it looks like, you're not alone. Namaste. The God in me sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and cherishes the God in you. Man, family, thank you for being with me on this beautiful journey.